Hi, my question is for Kripke and the writers. I just wanted to know about the meta episode. What made you decide to do that?
Which was awesome.
Were you worried about poking such a vocal portion of the fandom? Was there anything that you thought too far?
No, we just love navel gazing. It was Nancy Weiner, who is our writer's assistant. It was her idea, totally. It didn't come from any of our heads. She showed up one day and wanted to do a Stranger Than Fiction episode in which Sam and Dean find out that they're characters in a book. And then we laughed and said, no, forget it, that's impossible. But it's just one of those stories that kept floating around, and then it was sitting, and this is actually sort of how the writer process works, which is, so we have the idea and we kick it around and we say it's impossible and forget it, and then there's certain ideas you just can't shake. And then it was actually me going into Sarah's office and saying, yeah, but why is this guy writing this book, and is he one of the psychic kids, and I can't figure out why he would do it, and then she said, well, why don't you make him a prophet, which was Sarah's idea, and see, it was my idea to drink. It's like, what's your idea, Eric? Drink. So, and then it all of a sudden kind of just snapped into focus because it tied into the mythology, but we have a lot of fun sort of being self-deprecating. I think we're aware of our faults and the seams in our bunny costume as much as anybody, and so it's sort of fun to kind of poke fun at the show, and again, I have such a tempestuous, loving, conflicted relationship with the online fandom that I needed to, I also sort of was attracted to the possibility to also just kind of poke a little loving, very loving fun. Please don't hurt me. And then it's just and then Chuck became so attractive that, when Ben and I were breaking the season finale, Ben said we had to bring back Chuck, and he flew right, seamlessly. He flew seamlessly into the season opener, and on the board there's like more meta episodes on the way because we just had so much fun doing them that I think there'll be more.
Awesome.
Hi. My question is, how does Chuck's personality relate to Eric Kripke's?
I think they're very similar. The very first episode I did, I didn't even realize what I'd gotten myself into. No, I didn't realize, I knew there was sort of the writers speaking through the character because there are scenes in the first episode I did where I'm like, God, you had to do that? Oh, that was a sucky episode. I can't believe you had to do that. Then someone pulled me aside and they're like, you realize you're Eric in this, right? And then I finally met Eric at the end of the season last year. He directed the last episode of last season, and so it's really funny. He's about my height, and he got my energy. I don't think he's this I don't know if he's this dark. I always feel like Chuck has kind of a dark side. He's just, he's lonely. But I don't think Kripke's lonely like that, but definitely he's speaking to you guys through me.
Hi. My question for Rob is, what was your reaction when we found out you were God?
Yeah, it's funny because when I first read it, like you guys probably, I was like, wait a minute, what? I thought, did I miss something? I just, all of a sudden I'm wearing white, and then I go poof, and what? And so I get up there to Vancouver to shoot it, and the crew members are like, so what's up? So you're God. How's it feel? You're God. And I was like, okay, so I'm okay, all right, so I'm God. I totally missed it at first. I didn't get it. So I was like, oh, okay, so I'm God, all right. And then Eric Kripke called me. He was like, how's it feel that you're God? I was like, oh, okay, so it's a definite. And Eric was like, well, I want the fans to interpret it however they want to, but I think that was his intention anyway. So my reaction was I totally missed it. I didn't. I totally missed it. Which there's a lesson in there somewhere. Maybe you got this little God in all of us, and we just don't know it.
All right, this is for Misha. At the last Supernatural Con last summer,
I just put my ear up to the microphone.
We talked about Rob Benedict being God. And so, how do you feel now about Castiel being God, or at least being power hungry enough to call himself God? Do you feel like this might be?
First of all, I don't like the way you're
imitating
phrasing
life?
that.
Do you think this is art imitating life?
Oh, strong finish though. Strong finish. Where is Rob? Where's Rob? Why didn't Rob come this weekend?
I'm actually confused how he was God and now you're God. Are there two gods?
There was Rob. It was certainly intimated that Rob was
Yeah.
God.
Chuck was God.
But then,
Right.
but
Chuck. Let's not confuse actor and
Rob
character.
is not God.
As far as you know. And so that was sort of confusing because then suddenly I'm God,
Yeah,
and
I'm confused.
and I was saying, oh, but we haven't seen God in a long time.
but
so
do we see God?
did we just sweep that whole ugly chapter under the rug and pretend it never happened? I don't really know. We didn't really deal with that properly. But apparently, either Chuck wasn't really God, or
Well, the ingestion of all the souls from purgatory doesn't just make you God. It makes you a God.
right. And that opens up the whole, is this a polytheistic universe or not? It's a lot to chew on. But as far as the whole art imitating life thing, I think yes is the answer.
Wait a minute. No, you were in the 200.
Yeah,
episode.
I was in the last episode of season 5,
Yeah.
and they came back right in the middle of season 10.
What are you complaining about?
Nothing. No, I was so thrilled to come back for that one line, but it was a very big line. And
Yeah, no, it was reasonably well done.
yeah, I thought it was really well done. And
I meant the line.
thank you. Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. No, but when I was watching it, I was even surprised when it came around and it was me. Like, I was like, oh my God, who's it gonna be? Like, I was so into it. And imagine my surprise when I was like, it's me.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously the final shot there was. Did you guys? Easiest workday of all time. Yeah, you got 2 words. You should. Oh, look who shows up at the very end. To say something good and steal all the credit. Oh my gosh, how weird.
But there were 2 very hard words.
3 letters. I heard you ask for a 3rd take, and Phil was like, really? You need another one? You've got 2 words, Rob.
And then I've come all this way.
You got a take per word.
Yeah.
We had 1,200 takes in a normal season.
Yeah, really, it wasn't much. But it sure was fun. Not and bad.
Yeah. In that order. Ladies and gentlemen,
Question is obviously for Bob. It's been going on that
This is the last question.
it's been said that there's this theory that Chuck is God, but I remember Castiel grabbing the amulet and saying, "I'm gonna go find God, and if I find God, the amulet is gonna tell me that he is that I found God." But when Dean is with Chuck, the amulet does nothing. So is Chuck God, and why did he vanish and suddenly show up for the 200th episode? What happened? Will we ever know? Thank you.
It's a 9-parter, Bob. It's the first part.
You know, Richard and I have known each other for a long, long time. We did a pilot back in 2002 or something. And I love Richard, and it was great to have Richard come and do Gabriel for us. But you're never going to work with me again. This is it. What we always thought was, and I think that was the last episode of season 5, if I'm correct. That's when Eric Kripke said, "Here, guys, run with the ball," and he gave us a ball and 1,000 yards to run with it. We talk about this a lot. Is Chuck God? Is Chuck not God? Samuel really wouldn't have a whole lot of. I mean, you know, God's God. So, just because Dean is wearing that, it's not going to have a huge effect on that. I don't know if you guys saw the 200th episode where Chuck came back.
Yeah.
We toy around with this idea a lot, and for next season we haven't really solidified a whole lot of what we're going to do, but we know that we're playing with the darkness and the light, and good and evil, and a lot of God stuff we're talking about. I always think actually portraying God or having God as a character is kind of a tricky bit of business. Having said that, we love Rob, so we're talking about it, but it's not as easy as a demon or just an ordinary angel. But listen, we had the devil, but we've seen that a lot. God, you don't see that much on a regular basis, so this one's hard for us, but I get where you're coming from, but we're talking about it.
It's a wait and see on God on that.
Okay, so my question is for your character, Sam. If God comes back, how do you feel your character will react to his appearance? Because I know throughout the whole entire show, you've stood strong with your faith for God, and you just keep getting denied. So if God was to come back, how would you react? How do you think you'd react?
I'll say this because I'm a little hungover, if I haven't made this clear. What an awesome question. Watch the rest of the season.
My question's for Rob.
Yeah. Let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you noticed, God's in the fucking house right there. God.
I'm in the game, Rich. I'm in the game.
Oh, boy.
What was your reaction when you found out you were coming back on the show?
I was thrilled and excited, and Robbie Thompson called me. I know there were rumblings during last season that maybe God would come back, and I was kind of hoping that would be me. And then Robbie Thompson, who wrote the first episode back that I was in, called me and he said this was happening, and it was like an arc, and they'd be doing several episodes, and I was so thrilled because the thing is, like, we all, this convention circuit is almost like this separate thing that we all do together, right? And we all work together and develop these friendships, and so. People like Jensen and Jared and Misha and Mark, I've gotten to know them in this world. So then to go back to the show and work with them again, I know both of these guys recently experienced that too. Rich directing and Matt was also back last season. So it was so fun to go back and work with your friends, and the crew was all the same. It was a joy. I didn't want it to end.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I love Loudon Swain and Rob Benedict. Isn't he an amazing God? Isn't Rob Benedict what you always, when in church, kneeling at your pew, imagined God would look like? Doesn't he have that same weighty, wise, distinguished quality that you always expected? He's also bearded, kind of like typical depictions of God.
I always pictured God with a little more gravitas.
Yeah.
But Eric Kripke's middle name is Chuck.
Is it really?
No.
Well, my pen name is Carver Edlund, which is two different writers.
Two writers on the show, yeah.
It's definitely my God, the Rob Benedict God, is the most neurotic God you'll ever meet.
I can vouch for that.
I think this is the way it should be. That's cool. And now there will be water. Is that cool, or are we good?
Okay with water?
Holy Chuck, you guys are awesome, and I just want to thank you for...
Holy Chuck. It's neat. I think from my honest to Chuck answer,
God, you're like above Morgan Freeman.
It's I never really thought of it like that. Like George Burns played God. can't ever, George is the man, right? It's weird, right? It looks weird on her resume. Honestly, it's like, to be honest, always gotta downplay it. Because the minute you start going, no, I play God, then you get struck by lightning. Let me go, I got this, guys, I played God. Smoke. But no, so I honestly, that's like when I answered the question just now, I'm always real like, so, I guess I'm sort of God? Which I think that's what I think makes it fun for someone like Chuck, who's like the reluctant God. So yes, it's very, I'm humbled. But thank you for your compliment.
Hi, hey.
What were your favorite and least favorite parts about playing each of your characters on the show?
I don't know if I had a least favorite. I would be hard pressed to find a negative. It was great. It was the most negative thing about it is that we're not doing it right now.
Yeah, see, the worst part is like every time I have to disappear and not come back. I just keep disappearing.
Well, yeah.
Held my sister's hand. See you later. Just to stick around.
Yeah, the not being there currently is the worst part, but everything else about actually playing the role,
it's fantastic.
Thoroughly enjoyed.
Hi, everybody. Well, thanks for wanting to talk to me after all this. I feel like we spent a lot of time together. But now it's just me and you, so you can ask me the tough questions. I can answer questions about all those guys if you want to know things, secrets. And talk about the whole God issue. I know. It's weird. It's awkward. Where do we begin? It's awkward, but we can handle it, guys. We can handle it. It's funny. It's like I rarely read like what people say about like my pictures if I post on Instagram or whatever, because I know like 1 out of every 50 comments would be something maybe kind of negative, and then it gets in my head, and so it would be like, oh my God, you know, such a great picture. You look great in this shot. Why did you kill Jack? He's not. I don't know if he's dead. We don't know. He could be back. I'll say this. When I read the script, the season finale last season, I had the same reaction you probably had. I was like, oh no. And I really was looking forward to meeting my grandson. I thought, oh, this will be a sweet scene when they write this. That we go fishing together, maybe play some catch, do grandpa-grandson things. I had no idea that I wouldn't even look him in the eye and I'd kill him. This is so cruel. Not what I had in mind. Anyway, well, let's get some questions going.
But I wanted to ask, and it's kind of sacrilegious, so just be warned.
Okay.
I wanted to know if anyone has ever asked you at autographs to sign a Bible since you play God.
Yeah, a bunch. I've signed with many a Bible. And I suppose the first time I was like, is this? Can I? Am I gonna be hell? You know, there's a part of me that's like, am I going to hell? But now I love it. Because, again, it's what's strange about playing God. At first it's really awkward. You're like, I can't, this is a sacred text. But I do it, you know. And now I'm like, oh yeah, well it's my book, right? And I wrote it. Is it too? Hope you enjoy my book. It's all for you. Check out page 34. Good stuff. Love God.